Florence, this is Good Morning PD on Live 95.
Welcome back to Good Morning PD Live 95. Takes Mondays to make Fridays. I want to thank all of our listeners, and I mean this sincerely. We have had world-class interaction with our listeners, and this show is really at its best when we're talking back and forth one to another, and I want to applaud collectively the group of listeners who give us the time of day and allow us to be a part of them. You want to jump in here so bad you can't stay?
Well, no, I just want to echo what you're saying, but also mention that there are several callers that we have not been able to get to throughout the course of the week because we simply run out of time. We apologize to our listeners that wait on hold and haven't made it on the air, but we do thank you.
You apologize to the listeners. I could care less whether we get to all of them or not. Right now we got got a good friend of mine and a member of the House of Representatives, Phillip Lowe. Phillip is an avid outdoorsman, and I've always gone to Phillip to get his opinion on things relating to gun matters, whether it's recreational use of guns, whether it's, policing your home or self-preservation and safety. Phillip has been, I don't think he'd mind me saying this, a little bit controversial in a bill you dropped a few years ago. You've done that again this week. So, Phillip, I'll get out of the way. And if you don't mind, kind of explain to people what motivated you back then and what has remotivated you to do it again this week. And dropping a bill, for those who don't know, that's just when you put a bill before the body to see where it goes.
Ken, thanks for having me again, and I appreciate all of my voters for letting me serve. We're back on the same topic. Why are we back on the same topic? Because we've done nothing, and we really can't seem to agree on any one thing in here except more security, right? We talk about a gun and how many rounds it may shoot, how aggressive the gun looks, but I can take a single shotgun that I had when I was 12 years old, and I can reload that 10 times in a minute. It takes 7 minutes for a cop to get there. So I've shot 60 or 70 rounds easy before a cop arrives. How many kids could I kill with buckshot when they're trapped in the classroom and I'm the guy standing by the door? No one can get out. Is that an acceptable number? So we can't eliminate the right gun because that's the simplest, cheapest $70, $80 gun you can pick up at a gun store, right? A single shot 12-gauge shotgun. And I could kill 50 to 70 kids in the 5 to 7 minutes that it takes for a cop to arrive. So that's not the answer. Eliminating multiple round guns or semi-automatic guns or aggressive-looking assault-style rifles is not going to get us there. But when I talk to Democrats and Republicans and we get together and talk, one thing we agree on is security. What can we increase security? You know, it's going to cost something to increase security. Here's the least expensive way to increase. And this is a bill I dropped. It's number 4972, very similar to one I've dropped in the past.
That's House Bill 4972.
House Bill 4972. The first time I dropped a bill, maybe 6 years ago or so, I said you just need a CWP, and the teachers or anybody in the school could then carry. Well, they all screamed, well, that's not enough training. So I came back with some training, and, of course, you can't get it through the subcommittee because it's a real close vote, but they're scared of guns. I brought it back this time. And, you know, Trump actually brought up essentially my bill when he said this is what he thinks should happen, and that is increase security. So what this bill really does is called the School Protection Officer Act. And it begins with a person who volunteers. They want to do it, okay? Everybody doesn't want to do it, and I don't want some people doing it.
And no one's demanded. No one's commanded to do this.
That's right. So they volunteer. The principal of the school, who knows them best, then has to agree. They can then forward that name to the school board. The school board then can go into executive session and vote whether they think you would be a good candidate or not. If they say, yes, you would be, then you have to have your concealed weapons permit, pass a SLED background check, and you have to go to the Criminal Justice Academy where they train you, the same people who train police officers. And I've talked with them, and they say they can train a person in 1 week to know what to do in the event of an active shooting.
Phillip, let me ask you this. Let me interrupt you there.
Go ahead.
So the difference in this bill in last is you believe you've provided a higher level of scrutiny and training to any individual. And I use the word appropriate personnel. That's not for me to decide. I don't think you're trying to decide that. Let's let people responsible for running the school district decide who the most appropriate people to approve to have a weapon on right now. What is the gun-free zone?
That's right. And that's what we're trying to eliminate. The person who is coming to school to do harm is looking for a place he can do the most harm before he's taken down or shot. That's a gun-free zone. You have to attack that. You have to make the guy come and think that anybody in this school could be armed. Because the reality is you could get on a bus. You could shoot people on a bus. The bus driver could be armed. The cafeteria worker could be armed. This also extends to higher education. Now, Fred Carter is an ex-Marine. Would you like him to have a gun? I know I would. Fred'd be a guy I would hand my extra gun to if we got in a gunfight. Because there are people who have that capability, who have the instincts and can react properly. And, of course, you have to have well-trained people. They have to continue their education, and you have to be able to check them out and be able to remove their right in case they have some kind of a criminal act they commit, or they have some anger issues, or who knows, maybe they're on too much Prozac or something.
Sure. Philip, I know how difficult it is to work something through the machine. I mean, you got subcommittees, you got committees, you got the House, you got the Senate, you got the governor, you got all these different elements that some of which you have a part and a role in, some of which you don't have a part and a role. What is it that people, I mean, you said, people are nervous about guns. Why do we have resistance about adding what I would call bona fide security in our most vulnerable places? How would somebody say, no, Philip, I just don't want to be a part of that? Is it all about that preconceived notion we have about the firearm?
We seem to all agree we need increased security. What we can't agree on is that we might have somebody who's not a full-time employed law enforcement agent who could help, that there are people already on the premises that are willing to help if we provided the avenue for them to do it. The other side, the left, says, no, you have to have a full-fledged police officer. Well, this person doesn't need to know how to write tickets. Doesn't need to have to go in and do all the functions of a police officer. By the way, we're short in every area of law enforcement. We're short people. It's a poorly paid job. They get no respect. They get picked on. They never seem to do anything that people are happy about, and they don't stay long. Most people don't stay after they're 25 years old. They've already left that job. So putting them in a school with a bunch of teenagers isn't likely to be a real happy place that you're going to want to be either. We're not going to find enough people, nor can we afford to pay for 3 to 4 people, which is what it would really take to secure a school against an outside force that wants to come in like that. If a person's got 5 minutes in a school, 7 minutes before somebody can come and help and respond, it's too much time. You have to have people on site, and you have to eliminate the gun-free zone.
Whether somebody is a voter of yours or not, whether you represent them in the House or not, they're listening to the show, they agree in concept with what you're saying. How can they help advance House Bill 4972? I mean, obviously, it's the people's house. You're conducting the people's business. How can the people be a part of this process?
Yeah, I think you really have to touch leadership. And leadership are the people who control the committees and the subcommittees in the House and or the Senate. Those are the most important people who shape what actually comes out as a bill. Now, you can call your individual representative and you can ask them to co-sponsor. I know Jay Jordan is already co-sponsoring this bill, and we've got multiple co-sponsors, and they keep coming up to me wanting to know the bill number and adding their names. So I think we've got some steam right now, but we've got to get the Democrats on board. But we need people to talk to the Democrats, too, that we don't have enough money without really eliminating some other projects or taxing people more to be able to afford to put enough security in a school with full-fledged paid law enforcement officers. But we have to have well-trained people that we put in there that you and I trust, that you would trust your kid to. These people already love your kids.
Sure.
They're not going to do anything to want to harm your kids. They're there because they love children. They love to teach.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I would encourage people, find out more. It's House Bill 4972. It's a bill that Phillip Lowe, House member Phillip Lowe, is trying to push through the public sentiment matters. Public opinion matters. Politicians listen to what the people say. They react to what the people say. I don't know about Washington, but I know in Columbia that's the case, and I got to believe you'd want public support in trying to push this bill across the finish line.
That's what it's going to take. Both sides actually agreeing on something rather than taking the far distant opinions that we never agree on. We got to come together for security.
And I think your most appropriate point is, what have we done? Nothing. Let's do something. And I think this is a great place to start. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming by. We'll take a break. Takes Mondays to make Fridays Good Morning PD Live 95.